Well, hello again, everybody. It's me. It's your old buddy, Steve Simonson, recording on the Awesomers podcast episode of the day in our continuing Founder Foundations mini-series. Now, today we are going to continue into the marketing introduction section of this foundational program. And we've already discussed in previous episodes some of the core tenets that relate to marketing and particularly at a product level. Today, we're going to fly up and talk about the brand positioning and the differentiation of that brand so that you can kind of tie the whole story together. So a lot of people have already heard about, having a unique selling proposition, although most of us pay lip service to that. And we go, I'm going to sell the highest quality product at the lowest price and deliver the best customer service. And that's my USP. And that is definitely not you. Nothing unique about that selling proposition. In fact, that's what everybody says. It's lazy and it's inaccurate and it's nobody believes it. So any customer who you ever pitch that kind of USP to will see right through it and they'll go, all right, just how's this clown compared to every other clown? And there is really no differentiation in most USPs. So my objective today is to say, well, how do you take differentiation past the product level and make it into a brand attribute, make it into something that your brand stands for? And for those who may recall prior episodes, I've talked about the company story, and I did a longer in-depth company story podcast sometime back where I talked about companies like Tom's Shoes and Chipotle and other companies that in fact do create and have created a true USP. And whether you agree with their USP or like their food or shoes or whatever, it's quite irrelevant. It's only a question of they looked at the market and they said, oh, guess what? We're going to be different than everybody else in the market. So as your brand differentiation concept begins, you must start by looking at what your competition is. You've got to determine, what are they offering and where do we fit into that? And what is our kind of go-to-market angle to disrupt this existing market? All of these people are market makers. And we'll use an e-commerce situation, whether you're selling on somebody like Shopify or your own Amazon FBA brand, there are existing sellers of your product. Very few times does a totally novel product come down the pike. Even the people who say this is totally novel, and I've got a patent on it, often it's some subtle little detail, and it's like, oh, well, that really, it's nuanced. It's fine. I got no problem with it. I don't, in fact, think that you need to reinvent the wheel to be able to sell a product and create a brand. Quite the opposite. I think you can create brands from basically any product category. It doesn't require some, Einstein level of, kind of brain power or, inventiveness. It just needs somebody who says, I see this niche in the market that is missed or underserved, or this annoys me. The old Gillette razor guy is like, I got tired of getting ripped off by razors, and so I created my own company. Ironically, then ripped off everybody for a couple decades, and so the people from some of the next in Dollar Shave Club or those types of folks came down and said, now we're tired of getting ripped off by the razor companies, and so here's our cheap razors. And then they keep raising the price and get bought out by multi-billion-dollar conglomerates. And then the next guys come along and go, hey, we're tired of cheap razors, right? So timing is important, but it's also relative to what's happening in your market today. So before you conclude what your brand positioning and differentiation could be, you have to actually consider, what does the landscape look like at large in your category? That's obviously quite relevant. Now, once you understand that greater landscape, then you want to start figuring out how you can differentiate. Now, sometimes people differentiate on the physicality of the product. Ours is, stronger. If anybody remembers the old Samsonite luggage, right? They'd have gorillas jumping on it. It goes, look at it. If it could stand up to a gorilla, it can stand up to your kids, right? And or the people at the luggage place that throw the thing for distance. and break new Olympic records daily. So all of those types of things, whether it is price, by the way, I don't recommend price. That is the easiest, weakest marketing play ever, just to go, we're selling at a cheaper price. Unless you have some critical breakthrough in production, the capacity to make items at a substantially lower price than your competition, price is not it. And I'm not saying those don't exist. Okay, I want to be very clear about that. Some people can redefine how manufacturing works, and through whatever process that is, they can then say, now I can offer this at a lower price. In the old days, that price used to simply be, I'm buying stuff that was made in America and now it's made in Japan, or it's made in China, or some other place that has cheaper fill in the blanks, labor, raw materials, whatever it is. And then I'm shipping it over, and now I'm disrupting based on price. That works, but everybody can copy that, and it's not very defendable. So having a differentiation that is in fact defendable would be obviously ideal. Now, I also want to point out that there are tangible aspects, which I just alluded to, the physicality and so on, but there are also intangible things. And one of the things that we used to do is we would trademark attributes about our product. So if we were selling, let's say, desks, we might say this desk has this particular finish over the wood that we kind of made our own brand of. And we would even make some nuanced attempt to make that finish be brighter or stronger or more scratch resistant, or whatever the case of the day happened to be. So we would essentially use the same, coatings that everybody else did, but we would add some little element that made it a little bit different and a little bit marketable. And then we would trademark it and go, these desks are exclusive with the Steve's Finish is the best kind of finish. Just call it, super tough finish. Forgive me for anybody who has that trademarked. But then any desk, if you sell that attribute, super tough, as being a really cool thing, and you shouldn't buy a desk without super tough coating, now only your products are under consideration by those buyers who find that particular aspect to be important to them, right? And that is one element that you can put in. Just to be clear, a desk is a simple example, right? A coating on a desk is a simple example. It could be the material that you use, right? My buddy Kevin has got a brand where they're just taking recycled ocean plastics and they're making that part of the product. Now that's going to be part of that brand umbrella. Makes perfect sense. That's defendable, it's unique, and people get behind it. Especially these days, younger people love to have the sense, whether it's real or otherwise, that there's a mission behind the brand, and that they're participating somehow in making the world a better place by purchasing a specific kind of product. Again, whether it's true or not, that's what the consumer wants. Now, I definitely am a huge proponent of just telling the truth. Don't say, yes, we're, saving penguins, and then, make all your stuff out of penguin skin. That would not be ideal. But I also, I want you to be careful of the dangers of greenwashing. I think I alluded to this story earlier. I'm not sure if I shared it publicly, but there's a cell phone company. They have started running ads that go, hey, we're now 100% hydro at HQ, meaning that we're green, so you should buy from us. And we're virtuous because our competition, they got some coal burning power in their HQ. Now, just to be clear, we don't get to choose where power comes from in power grids. That HQ was powered by hydro for the last 30 years, had nothing to do with this marketing nonsense. And the other guys have no choice about where their power comes from any more than any of the rest of us do. The grid is the grid, and you get your power based on what's locally available. My point is, even if it sounds good, if it is hollow or, otherwise could be construed as a lie, I don't think it's the right thing to do. That's just me. Plenty of people are like, hey, now I'm making this product without formaldehyde, or, formaldehyde free. as if they are implying that their competition has formaldehyde in it or some other, noxious chemical, but it never had formaldehyde. And I'm just pulling random examples out here. My whole point is your brand needs to stand for something true. It actually should be unique. When people say unique selling proposition, I do want you to drive to that. And it also becomes a barometer for everything that your brand does, right? You're building some sort of offering set around a brand, whether it's a service and it's like, we just focus on Shopify sellers, or we just focus on Fortune 500 companies, or we, as a product business, we only make products that are, recyclable. Or I own a company, iBamboo. We haven't operated that particular brand. I sold out some time ago, but I still own the domain iBamboo. Like, if I brought that back, I would only make products made of real, authentic bamboo, not fake stuff, as so many people do. So brand positioning, brand differentiation is a critical component of what you do. It goes beyond the commoditization of the product. It goes beyond, really any of the small things. I want you to take all the lessons you've learned up until now and start to mesh them together and figuring out how you position your brand in such a way that all of the sensory aspects of your brand, all of the right brain, left brain aspects of that brand, they all coalesce into something cohesive. Hey, that's the best thing to come out of a cohesion, is this idea that, what, our first product, let's use Whole Foods as an example. They said everything that comes in here is organic, essentially. I'm paraphrasing here. So the moment that something shows up and it's not organic, including Coca-Cola, it's out. Right? Can you imagine another grocery store saying, no, Coca-Cola, you're not welcome here, because people are weak and they just want the sales, and they know Coke drives traffic and people come in to buy Coke, maybe buy something else. But no, they said, we understand our differentiation, we understand our core values, and we're never going to betray those, even if that means sacrificing sales today. That's what a good USP looks like. And I want you guys to spend time thinking about what process you can go through. And there are very simple steps that you can do, right? You want to just start thinking about what the components are of your various positions could be vis-a-vis, where's my competition? How does that make me fit into it? What do I truly believe in? What are some of the customer avatars, psychographics that we've already gathered up? And how does all of that come together to say, this is how we're going to position ourselves. This is how we're different. This is how we're special. And because we know so much about the psychology of our customer, we know that they're really focused on these key things. Now, I want to just leave one final little disclaimer here. This is a big picture issue. Most people are not going to go through this process when they're starting their business. Now, again, if this is your fourth or fifth business, then maybe you should have this in the early stages of your product development, your brand development. But this is some process at some point that you should consider and go through, so that you can really get all of the bones fleshed out a bit, and you can really then understand, I have the best way to solve this problem, or I have the easiest way to eliminate this headache. Everything in business is either, solving a problem or otherwise enhancing somebody's life or experience. You have to define what that is, not just at a product level, but at a brand level, and then wrap those core values around what you believe, and then document it and share it. Make it loud and proud throughout the organization. And then that becomes a barometer for all future marketing activities and the way that you present yourself. I hope this is helpful, everybody. Please let us know. Comment, subscribe, click the notification bell, etc., etc. Your help is so much appreciated. We're going to see if we can grow this Awesomers channel, and if we do, we'll record more of these. How about that?